Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcos Viegas for Fight Up TV, powered by Stagefront VIP. Being joined today with one of my favorite people to talk to in boxing, the one and only Mr. Keith Thurman, who I see is at his gym in St. Pete right now. Did you just finish training session, Keith?
Hey, I was doing some mid work, some bag work, and I'm just hopping in so that we can talk boxing, baby. I got plenty of time. There's a lot of great fights that have happened. There's some good fights that are being announced this year. So I know we got a lot to get into, man. And I'm happy to see you like always.
Oh man, likewise. So wait, are you training for a fight? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah, we
Are you in
haven't
camp?
we don't have our date announced, but I know it's all in the works. We got this big pay-per-view coming up. But I know me and I will be talking shortly, and there'll be announcements hitting because your boys got to get back this summer. We got caught up in a little bit of a political stanza, but I'm still happy to be here. Because at the end of the day, man, we wish to be at the top. You get at the top, things get a little political, but everything's a blessing in disguise at the end of the day, man. To be where I'm at, to have the legacy that I have, and what I bring into the welterweight division, into the sport of boxing, has always been beautiful, and it will continue to be beautiful as I continue to train and get ready.
Yeah, man, I got a lot of questions for you in regards to your return and you just being caught up in the whole back and forth negotiations of not only a potential fight that you could have had with Errol Spence, but this whole Spence Crawford thing that finally got made official. First, on that, are you going to be on the card, or do you expect yourself to be on this Spence versus Crawford card?
Nah, I've been a main event fighter for way too long. And it's just the way boxing is today. I mean, when's the last time they stacked a card like that? You tell me. When's the last time they stacked a pay-per-view card, to where somebody could, you know, pretty much. I remember when I first got on HBO, I was trying to steal the show. I was a co-feature. I'm, co-main event, but there's the main event, co-main event, co-feature. So when I was that first fight being televised just to start boxing off, I was trying to make that Keith Thurman show, something that the fans wouldn't forget. So even though whoever was the main event of that night, whether it was Adrian Broner, Andre Berto, or Mosley, or any fighter that was at the main event for the night, I was trying to steal the show. And with these pay-per-view cards and the way that it's been, the way that the money has to be divided for the elite fighters at the top. I mean, we risk everything to supply entertainment to the fans. Boxing is one of the hardest sports to talk about. It's one of the hardest sports to criticize. Okay, even though people do criticize, they do talk about it. I know it through and through. The big, the sweet, the ugly, the sour. It is what it is, man. And I love boxing for what it is, and it's still my dream. So many people enjoy it, and I'm just happy to be a part of this beautiful sport. And it's not over, I know a lot of time has gotten burnt up, but that's just my story. That's just my struggle. Fans might be sour. This is my life. I got to live it. I'm sour too, baby. But at the end of the day, I still find time to smile. Still find time to be grateful. And just like I said, happy to be here, man. Every time I'm in the ring, every time I'm in the gym, man, Keith Thurman's living his dream, so I'm a happy individual with that.
Yeah, I think the last time they stacked a pay-per-view like that was when Mayweather fought Canelo and they put Danny Garcia and Lucas Matisse on the same card. But yeah, that hasn't really to that caliber happened since. I know when I last spoke to you, you had told me that you were the backup for Errol Spence, and it looked like we were going in that direction, that you were going to get that fight. And then, months, weeks went by, and then we got the announcement that Spence and Crawford had been made. I know, coming from your side, I guess, how was all that? What happened on your end?
I mean, nothing on my end. They wanted to make the biggest fight possible for the sport of boxing. Nothing on my end. I'm a yes man. Uh, you know, uh, I'm two-time
Team
former
player.
champion of the
You're a
world.
team player.
Two-time champion of the world. I'm looking for that title contention once again. When champions fight champions, contenders have to sit on the sidelines. And that's just the way it is right now. So it's very difficult, and there's a lot of tremendous talent in the welterweight division. But boxing has been criticized for not making the big fights happen. So, like, you know It's like the fighter in me knows what I want. The Spence fight, the political boxing supporter in me knows this is the one of the biggest matchups of the year, and that it had to be done. Of course, in the meantime, from last year when I competed, Thurman could have got in with Crawford. Thurman could have got in with Spence, but at the top, they can take time in between fights because they're negotiating big fights, big paydays, making that road, building those bricks up, so that when they, at the end of the day, they have their journey, they have their path, and eventually we're all going to have to walk away. We've already seen great fighters like Sean Porter get out, and there's we don't know how long Spence is going to stay in the game. We don't know how long Crawford's going to stay in the game. People question how long Thurman's going to be in the game. Is he really still a fighter? There's a lot, man. But my heart is in this. I want to do it till I really can't do it no more. I want a long, healthy career, about to 39, 40 years old, similar to Pacquiao and Floyd. But we'll see. It's one day at a time. It's one camp at a time. It's one fight at a time, and that's boxing.
How close were you to getting the Spence fight, and when did they? I don't want to say like tell you, but when did you notice like, hey, they're moving in this direction to make the Crawford fight?
Well, ever since he did the pushback in December, in December I was already in camp. We were supposed to be locking in a date in February. Spence apparently got into another accident with his vehicle, some armored truck vehicle out there in Texas. That really protected him a lot better than the last accident, but no matter what they say, like, oh, he's okay and this and that, he's okay, but he probably shouldn't be sparring. He probably shouldn't be taking, jabs and punches to the head, just micro movements to the neck. I remember back what happened to me with the Sean Porter fight and how we had to delay that because of the whiplash that I suffered, and the airbags got deployed, slapped me upside my head. I thought I was okay. It was uncomfortable. I thought I was okay. I did a sparring session. My neck got all messed up from one of our fighters landing a jab, a nice solid stiff jab, snapped my head back like that and pinched something there. Boom. I was in pain, for weeks. And so I just understand so many dilemmas. But me, throughout my history, I love big fights. Of course, I could stay active at any time. I can make other great fights happen in the sport. But I love big fights, and I put big great fights together. And it's hard to put Thurman against anybody and get a bad fight, especially the more talented my competition is. So I'm just a big dreamer out here living my American dream, trying to make the biggest, baddest things happen. But I got bypassed, overlooked because there was something else out there. I remember when I was belt hunting, and you overlook people that don't have belts, So I've been there, I've done that. I don't really hold any animosity towards these champions currently. I feel like I've lived their life. I'm in their shoes. Sometimes I feel like doing that, putting myself in other people's shoes. And as a fighter, it's easy to do that. Me and Crawford, we grew up in the amateurs together. So it's great to see him having such a successful pro career. I used to see him at the national tournaments. We were in the Olympic trials together. So I wish him all the success in his career. He's always been a tremendous world-class fighter. And now he's finally, with all the hooping and the hollering of how great Crawford is, how great of a welterweight is he? And he's finally getting the upper echelon welterweight fights to prove himself in the welterweight division.
Yeah, you touched on something that I think you answered, and it was like, how do you personally feel that you didn't get either or, and they went in that direction? And I was thinking like, well, the fan in me is glad that Spence and Crawford got made, but then I was also thinking like, well, how does Keith feel in all of this? Because he's been sitting out since the fight, with Barrios, thought he was going to get this fight, and now he's having to wait. Now he doesn't have a fight. So you touched on it a little bit that you don't really feel resentment towards not getting any of those two for.
I always have a fight,
Yeah.
Until the day I retire. Every day of my life, it can be a 1 year, 2 year, whatever's happening. Every day of my life is one day closer to my next match. So I just have that positive outlook with boxing. Maybe I'm more patient than I need to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got that Zen nature. I have faith. Everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna work itself out. Akuna Matata, baby. Uh, so I mean, there's nothing to worry about. Like I said, man, as much as I complain, right? As much as I can, put a bucket full of tears in front of you, my guy. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm living a dream, and I always just come back to that, man. I'm so grateful to have the life that I have, and I want to entertain. I want to make the big fights happen, but these are two undefeated champions. The real thing is Thurman was not supposed to slip up in 2019. If I was the undefeated champion, we would have been unified titles together. Two champions of this caliber, undefeated, going to unify the entire division, doing something unprecedented, something that Floyd Mayweather never accomplished in his career. This is what our generation needs. They need that to gain the status. They're both future Hall of Famers, but somebody's just going to have a few more words to say on their plaque at the end of the day. And that's what fighting is all about. That's what competition is all about. Sports in general, and this is just some of the best action. And so from that standpoint, you just can't be upset. We got to keep it moving. You see me in here sweating, dripping. I'm just going to do my job, and I'm just going to stay ready for the world of boxing.
Yeah, we'll touch on your scheduled return date in a bit, but I got to ask you, how do you see the fight with Spence and Crawford? Who do you feel is going to be able to separate themselves?
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. We've seen both of these fighters start off slow, right? So we can see a little bit of a chess match for 3 rounds going into the 4th round where somebody should try to implement some dominance. I think it's going to be really important for somebody to go ahead and control the pace, control the rhythm, and sneak some punches in. Who can touch who. Boxing, the definition is to hit and not get hit. So who's going to touch who first? How much of it is it going to be a scoring match, and how much of it is it going to be I'm the bigger, badder man kind of event? I heard the little something on ESPN. They already did a nice little thing. Got the two fighters talking to each other. And, they're saying that it has the potential to be Hagler-Hearns. And, I mean, we know what that really means, and we don't see a lot of that ever in boxing today because, the number one rule in boxing, the golden rule, what's the golden rule?
I don't know. What is the golden rule?
Come on,
rule
baby.
To you?
You in boxing, baby. It's the golden rule.
Don't get hit, right? Don't get hit. Don't get hit.
Protect yourself at all times.
Yeah, there you go. Protect yourself at all times.
And so with understanding of the defense, with watching Floyd as being almost like a mentor to so many fighters, regardless of if they ever went into his training camps or not, so many fighters looked at Floyd. Floyd was the pinnacle of boxing, and he was hitting and not getting hit, hitting and not getting hit. So it's just kind of up the IQ and the awareness of many fighters, unless if you're stuck to where that's never been your strategy, right? That's never been the way that you box, But for people like Spence, people like Crawford, this is like Lomachenko. This is Olympic style boxing. That's what Floyd was. That's what Ali was. That's what Oscar De La Hoya was, So this is just the top pinnacle of boxing, the real art. We're gonna see everything. We're gonna see ring generalship. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see great defense, great offense, and we're gonna see which one of the two is truly the better man. So with that said, it's fun to talk about because it's hard not to like Crawford, right? Don't you feel like that? Like when you talk about it out loud, you're like, he's a southpaw. He's right. He's orthodox. He's a southpaw. He changes up. He's got power here. He's got power there. Fast twitch, reflexes, athleticism. There's something that we've never seen Spence fight. And to me, that's a puncher boxer, somebody who's truly athletic, similar to a Crawford and a Keith Thurman. There's a style that Crawford Thurman bring to the table that I think Spence has never had presented to him in his professional career. Now, with that said, we still know Spence might not be fancy, but he's been holding it down, and he's the truth. The truth is he is not easy to beat. He's never been easy to beat. And no matter how much you like Crawford, it might not be an easy match. It could be the toughest match of his career. So I just like playing with it. I'm not in the fight. They could both knock each other out. Boom, we can get double KO. Okay, boom, I don't care what happens. Slap a dapper do. I don't care what happens. It's fun to talk about. I'm outside the ring. I'm a spectator. Till they put me in the ring and I got to do what I got to do. I'm just spectating. I'm guesstimating the whole thing, just like you, just like any other boxing fan at any barbershop that's going to be talking for the weeks that come into this tremendous fight, So, I mean, the boxing world should be excited. They should be able to breathe. All them people, calm down, kid, calm down. It's coming, all right? It's coming.
If I were to give you $100, who would you put it on?
Oh, it's so tough. I've been asking myself that question too.
Yeah.
I want a little piece of the action. I feel like it puts you in the fight on a different level. You win with them, you lose with them. It's tough. Like I said, when you talk out loud, unless if you really love that Spence is the bigger guy, if you love the idea that Crawford has never been hit by a true welterweight. I know he fought Porter, but the way Porter's been fighting in his career since I knew him from the amateurs, 12 rounds, to be a 12-round fighter, he put in more effort and he took away from the exertion of that one-punch knockout. I used to see Sean drop people at the 165 division in the amateurs with headgears on. So I know the boy can punch, but I fought him. A lot of people fought him. His strategies changed throughout the years. Spence, the way he's got that long jab, the way he loads up with that left uppercut and his left hook, his right hook, these are just some real powerful punches coming from a technically bigger, stronger man. So if you like that philosophy, and I know, in my opinion, neither one of them have really gotten their chin clipped, and evidence to their defense and their boxing abilities. But at the end of the day, man, something's going to get through come, I believe, July 29th. And I'm just waiting to see, who hits who first. They're both defensive, but they're not perfect. They both like to trade. And when they both trade, just like anything else, when you're in the fire, that's when you're the most vulnerable. So it's going to be a game of inches. This is championship level. This comes down to, the last putt on the 18th hole. These are minute details that will separate these two great fighters.
Yeah, talking to trainers and just talking to people, there's two things that come up. One you touched on is the size of Errol and the volume. And some say, Errol's just going to drown out or could drown out Crawford with his activity. Where, yeah, he might get clipped with some counter punches, but it's going to be such an overwhelming volume of punches that you might see Errol separate himself there. Others have said, look, Crawford's too smart. A guy who throws that much leaves himself open for a lot of counter punches. Once, Terence finds a rhythm, it starts teeing off and finding those holes, you'll see the volume dramatically decrease from Spence because he'll be thinking about throwing these punches in this combination. So it's like, it really is a 50-50 fight. You feel like,
well, you can look at Terence, that boy's skinny strong.
He's skinny strong. Yeah, he
is.
He's
got that skinny strong. That's different, man. Tommy Hitman Hearns, he's got good height. Spence is notorious for his long jab, but with somebody who can compete against that long jab, with some athleticism, how dominant is it going to be, But we thought Ugas was going to be able to do the jab war with Spence, and eventually he just walked him down. Now, people who say that Errol has a lot of volume in his punches, I tend to disagree. But the one thing that I love the most, and this is something that I've seen throughout Errol, whenever those lights are really on and it's necessary, is the dog in them. Okay. The dog in Errol Spence. I'm talking about the dog that went to the UK, was in a tough fight against Brooke and just pulled it out, kept dogging towards the end. So the late round strength that Spence brings into the fights, I think, that's one of the things that has made him really hard to contest against, is after the first 6, how much he is going to close out the show, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But ultimately, I've seen the same tendencies out of Crawford, So I think they're both late bloomers. I expect not to see much early on. And unless if somebody clips somebody early, outside of that, I think the dog is going to have to come out in the both of them, and someone's going to have to get bit, So let's just see, man. I mean, I love the fight. It's 2 neck and neck, undefeated world champions. This is the best that the world has to offer. Pick somebody if you want. Don't pick somebody. Be like, just sit back and watch, baby. I mean, enjoy the show. Unless if you're trying to put something on it, man, it's just going to be something to witness, because greatness will be manifesting on the 29th.
So let me know who you're going to put your money on later.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I like this fight. After having this conversation with you,
yeah,
let's put a hundo on the draw, because the
on the
odds
draw.
pay up. Let's put it on a draw, man. Come on, you know how many different ways they can split that? Split draw, majority draw, something draw. 5-year-old just made a draw. You know what I'm saying?
You never know with these judges.
We don't know what these judges see.
Yeah.
We don't know what these judges see. Who do you favor in the championship? How do you favor the champion when they're both champions? How do you do a non-biased? How do you really approach this fight?
Well, they gotta see them on. They're on an even playing field. It's like once you step in the ring, no one's a champion. It's an even playing field.
But that's what I'm saying. We're so used to saying, "Oh, that fight's close, but he didn't do enough to
take it from the champion." Yeah,
How many times have we said that? How many times have we said that? Lomachenko, by the way, didn't do enough to beat the champion. He's missing his 4-punch combinations, thinking he's throwing a lot of punches, missing a lot of punches, kid. Then you hit somebody, you put them up against the ropes, and then you back up. Lomachenko's been having a problem with the bigger guys. I can see the size difference in the fight, but the size difference here, Loman's went up multiple weight classes. He was a really small guy in the amateurs. He's gone up throughout his career to make money and to live his dream of being at the top of boxing. And he was in contention for all the belts, and he fell short. But here we are, 2 fighters that are pretty much on an even playing field. So after saying it out so loud and just the teeter-tottering, it's so small, it's almost equal. Let's just put some money on the draw. You and me, Marco.
Man,
let's put some money on the draw.
Would be crazy.
Let's do it now. Let's do it now.
You want to put the only ones that are right? I'll put 100 on the draw. I'll put 100. If you put 100, I'll put 100.
Let's be the only ones that are right. Let's get paid. You know what I'm saying?
For the public record, me and Keith are going to put 100 on a draw.